who's in your head? Who's in your head when you're working on your creative projects and your business, maybe even when you're at the gym or trying to do something good for yourself? Not always a kind voice, right? Not always useful and creative. Well, there's a way that you could change that. And that's by creating an imaginary advisory board. What if you could have the people you most admire just show up for you when you need them the most, at the click of a button or at the click of a thought? That's something that Napoleon Hill did to kind of cultivate his own mind and his own thoughts in the fields of the people that he admired. And he had Thomas Edison in there, Waldo Emerson, and you name it, about 50 people that we read about in the history books. And what was really curious about this was that eventually they really took on their own life in his imagination. And at one point he describes in his book, Think and Grow Rich, that he actually got a little bit scared because it was so vivid in there. It was like a cartoon. And but eventually he took it back up again. And while you can read about some of his experiences in Think and Grow Rich, he doesn't really talk about exactly how to set this up and how to do this. So I've experimented a little bit with a visualization that I'm going to share with you a little bit later. And but first I wanted to talk a bit about how to start setting this up. And just like with anything else in life, when you are into a particular field of study or you aspire to something like to be a great artist or a great athlete, you've got people that you admire. So, and oftentimes if you want to become a writer, for some people that's how it starts. They have maybe one author that they read everything of. And one way to really get into the rhythm and kind of the mannerisms of how that person thinks and writes, you can kind of read a little passage of the book and then you can try to continue writing in a similar way about your own thing. That's one of those exercises you might do as a writer. But whatever your field is or whatever your dreams are, I'm sure you've got some people you admire. And so the first step would be to kind of sift through that, do a little bit of research, and write down some maybe 3 to 5 people that you'd really like to have a closer connection with. And as we have video today, it's so great because then you can really almost meet a person even though they're not in the room. And we also have videos still of today of people that have passed on. And I know that I still listen to certain meditations and wise words of people that I listened to while they were still alive. And that's a way that they're kind of still with me. And so create some playlists maybe on YouTube, and have some reading lists maybe on a shelf or in your Kindle. So that's the first step. And make sure that these are people, although these are humans, you kind of want to, yes, you want to think about people that you feel have behaved ethically and that you think are going to be somewhat positively inclined to want to be in your visualization. So, but while you're not, while you are thinking of them as a human, what you're really going to call on is sort of their genius and their higher self. And so once you've done that preparation, you want to think about a place that you can do this visualization, a physical place in reality, like maybe in your favorite chair, in a quiet room, or maybe on a mountaintop or next to a stream, whatever works for you. The visualization I'm going to give you actually was done next to a stream as I was walking around and some of the snow was melting. And then the other thing that you want to think about is whether you have a meditation practice or not. We need to sort of make some space in your mind by quieting it a little bit in order to get down to this other room we're going to create in our imagination, where we can invite some of these people to have an imaginary advisory meeting. So depending on what you feel comfortable with, maybe you want to take a walk to sort of clear your mind, or if you have some meditation practices, you can use those to even get to different states of mind, like from beta to alpha and things like that. And I can talk more about that in another video. And before I go any further, maybe I should also introduce myself. I'm Eva-Lotta, and up until now I've been doing a lot of things on Instagram, but since I'm also a filmmaker and a photographer, I have finally realized that, well, I mean, YouTube is perfect. So I'm going to come back here and do some more long-form content, and often that's going to lead to a meditation, and this is the one I'm going to give you right now. And the reason I work like that is because I have found, for example, in my real storytelling workshop, REEL storytelling workshop, is that while it's not always so easy to access, it's not so easy to be brilliant all the time, but those are kind of the ideas that we need to access to be creative and to have fun and to move forward with our creative projects and our business. So in the real storytelling workshop, I have this meditation, for example, about how to meet your ideal client, and we go into the forest to do that. But I don't want to go off on a tangent on that meditation right now, but I wanted to introduce myself as someone who is very creative, and I work as a filmmaker, and I also help clients with their social media content, but by accessing it maybe in a not so logical way. So I help you find maybe your colors and your archetypes by meeting them more in a creative setting, possibly in your subconscious mind. And so in this meditation, we're going to go meet some of our heroes. And so you're going to need to quiet your mind in some ways. And I have recently started to play around a little bit with the Silva method. And Silva also started introducing advisors actually into the meditations, or actually visualizations he was doing. He was creating methods to improve our memory and use both sides of our brain. And this started by helping his kids to get better at schoolwork. And to help his daughter once when she got a little bit scared, as she had gotten quite advanced in her ESP abilities, he realized that it would be really helpful for the kids to have some advisors in their imagination, one male and one female, so that they always had an adult at hand in case he was at work or something like that when they were off in their mind imagining things. So that said, now you've got your list of people, you've got a place to sit when you're going to do this, and you probably also want an intention for the meeting that you're going to adjourn. And it could just be, well, how do I move forward in my career today? But it could be something much more specific, like, okay, I would like to reach 100 people on the other side of the world with my message. What might be the best way to go about it? Let's say that's it. Or any other scenario. Or it could just be something more subtle than that. It could be if you're feeling stuck somewhere, maybe you could think about some of the people you would want to invite to your session. And I'm going to give you a meditation where I'm being a little bit more specific as we go, so you don't have to be so logical about going into this. I will guide you as we go in so that you can just focus on retrieving some great ideas. I think it's also important to say that we will only invite people willingly, of course, even if it's just in our imagination. And we need to make sure that our intention is pure, and hopefully only call on the intention of people that we think are, have a pure intent. And so I look forward to you trying the meditation and seeing what you find down there. And when I say down there, I'm often imagining going down as I am quieting my mind. I think my space that I'm creating, where my advisors are coming in, is kind of probably a room as part of I think it's in a mountain, and it has a really great view. And so the people I'm inviting in might be invited in through an elevator, or in my case, I'm probably using different staircases. And I don't like things to be too crowded, and I also like to be alone in my space. So for now, I only have 2 or 3 people there that I really admire. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I have included a link to download the actual visualization or meditation so that you can try it. And I think that it's going to be really helpful and possibly amusing. So I look forward to you downloading that and then coming back to this topic and maybe talking a little bit more about Silva and Napoleon Hill and some of the great things that they do, what they did, and we can use for our minds.